The gym lights buzzed softly above the polished hardwood floor. The echo of basketballs, squeaking shoes, and sharp whistles filled the air. Tyrell Carter stood in the far corner, head down, tying his sneakers while the other boys, most of them white, laughed and talked like they already knew who belonged and who didn't. It was the first day of training camp at Elridge State College, a basketball powerhouse known for producing NBA stars and million-dollar contracts. The team was elite, carefully scouted, and ruthlessly competitive. Tyrell wasn't supposed to be there. At least, that's what everyone said. Coach Ethan Moore had raised his eyebrows when he saw Tyrell's name on the recruitment list. From East Raleigh, he scoffed. Who vouched for this one? He watched the footage, half interested, barely paying attention. Raw. Flashy. Probably street ball. His no-team player. But something about Tyrell's stats made Ethan uneasy. The numbers were too consistent. Too disciplined. He asked around. The kid had no major sponsorships. No famous trainer. No agent pushing his name. He was just there. Ethan reluctantly approved him, figuring he'd bench him early in the season. The team's star player, Ethan's son, Logan Moore, took one look at Tyrell and smirked. "Let me guess," he whispered to a teammate, "another charity case. Coach's soft spot for diversity." Tyrell didn't respond. He had heard it all before. He kept his head down. Not because he was weak, but because he knew exactly what he was doing. They would talk, and then they would watch, and then they would learn. Practice was brutal. Ethan pushed Tyrell hard, harder than the others. He made him run extra drills, benched him during scrimmages, and barely acknowledged his contributions. Every time Tyrell dunked, passed, or led the team to a fast break score, Ethan called it luck or flashy nonsense. And Logan? He doubled down. Trash talk. Cheap fouls. Shoulder checks after the whistle. "Bet you used to playing on concrete, huh?" he whispered one day, face inches from Tyrell's. "You know nothing about me," Tyrell replied coldly. "Oh, I know enough. I know kids like you get the spotlight for one good game, and then vanish." What Logan didn't know was that Tyrell had been trained since the age of 8, not just on the court, but in life. His father, Marcus Carter, had been a legend in sports business. A behind-the-scenes mogul who had built one of the largest talent agencies in the country. But Marcus had kept Tyrell far from the spotlight, insisting his son would earn his place. "You will never be handed respect," Marcus told him. "You will have to take it with grace." So Tyrell kept grinding. In the weight room. In the gym. In the film sessions. The media didn't talk about him. The boosters didn't fund him. But the numbers? The numbers couldn't lie. And neither could time. Mid-season came. The team was losing. Logan's flashy plays weren't cutting it, and morale was crumbling. The scouts who had once hovered around the gym were fading away. The NCAA tournament dreams were slipping. Then one night, during a high-stakes game against a rival college, Logan went down hard, an awkward fall, clutching his ankle. The bench went silent. Ethan called a timeout, pacing. He turned to the bench. "Carter, you're in." Tyrell stood, grabbed his jersey, and jogged onto the court. No swagger. Just purpose. What happened next was poetry in motion. He played like a man possessed, reading plays before they unfolded, making no-look passes, sinking three-pointers with ease. He led, lifted, commanded. And when the final buzzer rang, the underdog had racked up 27 points, 10 assists, and 4 steals. The crowd exploded. The media took notice. The cameras finally zoomed in. "Who is this kid?" they asked. But Ethan sat stone-faced. And Logan? Furious. The next few weeks changed everything. Tyrell was now the heartbeat of the team. ESPN analysts whispered about his raw talent, but still assumed he was a one-season wonder. Then, as scouts began approaching, Tyrell politely declined every single offer. Every single one. Ethan couldn't understand it. "You're turning down Nike? Adidas? Why?" And then came the team banquet. It was a black-tie affair. Boosters, donors, coaches, players. Logan walked in with his chin high. Tyrell came alone, wearing a sleek suit that looked hand-tailored, his posture composed. Midway through the evening, the MC announced a surprise. "We'd like to welcome tonight's keynote guest, one of the most influential sports moguls of our time, the CEO of Carter Global, Mr. Marcus Carter. Gasps rippled through the room. Marcus walked in. Ethan's jaw dropped. Logan's face went pale. Tyrell stood. "Hi, Dad," he said. The silence was deafening. Marcus took the mic. "I came here tonight not to talk about myself, but to talk about what greatness looks like when it's earned." He looked at his son. "I raised Tyrell to be overlooked, to be underestimated, because I wanted him to see who people were before they knew who he was." He scanned the crowd, his eyes landing on Ethan, then Logan. "And now that you know, I hope you remember how you treated him when you thought he was just another name on the roster." The applause was thunderous. After that night, everything changed. Ethan began to coach differently. More humility, more respect. Logan, broken and quietly ashamed, stopped speaking for a while. Eventually, he approached Tyrell in the locker room one day. "I was a jerk," he admitted. "You deserved better." Tyrell nodded. "I didn't need your validation. I needed your respect." "You have it now," Logan said. "Good." Because Tyrell had earned it, every grueling second of it. He went on to lead the team to the Final Four, then graduated with honors. He never signed with the team right away. Instead, he joined his father's company, not as an heir, but as a strategist. Together, they built programs to support overlooked athletes, especially those from underfunded communities. And years later, when Logan was trying to break into coaching, he applied to Carter Global's mentorship program. Tyrell was on the interview panel, and he smiled as Logan walked in, humbled and hopeful. Because in the end, greatness doesn't need to scream. It just plays. And then it owns the court. True greatness doesn't demand attention. It earns respect through patience, discipline, and character. Never underestimate someone based on where they come from. They may one day own the very stage you tried to keep them off. I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Until next time, keep the stories alive.